all I see is pain. I see people's heartache, mainly because there is a lack of understanding. There is the taking on of too much responsibility. It is me. I'm the one that's causing this person to behave this way. We're hurting ourselves, and we're unconsciously hurting other people. And it's causing a big divide. Even influencers like me are on social media demonizing a group of people. Why? Because we don't understand them. We all have suffered some sort of trauma. It might have been a big T trauma or a small t trauma. And trauma is not the way textbook says it is. It is how we perceive an experience. And that's scarring. And we want to see that each and every one of us, we're all suffering, whether you could see it on the outside or not. We're all struggling with something or the other. And we really need to embrace each other as human beings. First one is how to bring back an ex in a relationship when she is not ready to come into the relationship with me. All right, this sounds like a breakup. You want to build up your self-esteem and self-respect so much so that when someone chooses to walk away from you, you can say, that's all right. I get it. I'm not going to run after you and say, please, please, please stay in this relationship with me. Please, I am so good for you. Why can't you see it? We don't want to beg people to see our worth. We want to see our worth and know that I'm not going to put myself in a position where I'm begging you to be in a relationship with me, regardless of what that is. If it's a friend and that friend's not reciprocating, meaning you're always the one who sets up meetings or meeting places, you're always the one to search for the restaurants. You could do one of two things, and I've had this with a really dear friend of mine. I recognized that she was always the one organizing where we met. Like, she will go and do the research, and she's really good at it, and what restaurants we were going to go to. And I remember saying to her, I said, look, I know you've got a lot on your plate, and I recognize that you have been doing this all the time. I'm open to helping, I'm open to helping. I could send you suggestions, and then you look at it and you zero in on something that you would want to go to as well. And she didn't realize that she was always the one to step in. She was always the one to suggest. And she said, I thank you so much, because I didn't notice that I was over giving when I have all of these things going on. Now, she's not an anxious attached. But I know the anxious attached generally jumps in to help. What you can do is say, hey, I am really swamped right now. Do you mind helping me to find a place? And if they don't, if they make an excuse, then that's not a friendship. And I know it's heartbreaking. I know it is heartbreaking to be so close to someone, you share everything with them, and then you start to realize that, wait a second, if I'm not the only one pouring into this relationship, it's going to end. Now, when you realize that, if you keep pouring into the relationship, what you're really saying to yourself, that person, the rest of the world, is that you are willing to neglect yourself because you are terrified of losing that person. In other words, you are willing to suffocate yourself, to shrivel up slowly and let your spirit die, because you would rather water them. You would rather put all of your energy while you dry up out there into this human being. And that's the thing that builds resentment and self-guilt. So if you've gone through a breakup and that person is saying, or they don't want to get back into a relationship with you. Learn to find your value and your worth. And how do you find your value and your worth? Get a pen and paper. I will always advocate for a pen and a paper. I don't care what AI does. A pen and a paper. Your brain processes things differently when you're writing them down. So write a list of qualities you have and that you admire about yourself. You're giving and you're kind. You're trustworthy, you're compassionate, you're thoughtful, you're loyal, you're faithful, you're a good listener, you're a good friend. You show up for people when they need you, so you're compassionate. Write that list. And on the other side, you write a list of things that you don't quite appreciate about yourself. You don't quite like, things that you want to change. And you start working on that. And as you work on that, what you're also doing is telling yourself that I also, on my plus side, I work on myself. I'm constantly elevating. And when you could really get a grip of who you are and fall in love with that person that you've got on that list, I mean, when I say fall in love with yourself, you fall in love with yourself. You could look at yourself in the mirror and you say, oh my gosh, you know what? You're a good-looking person. You look great today. You had this wonderful experience of just listening to this friend. You're really amazing. When you could really fall in love with yourself and compliment yourself the way you compliment your partner, that's when you will not be able to tolerate someone treating you badly, someone neglecting you, someone not. Hang on, I want to be careful here. Someone making a decision for themselves that they don't have the capacity to meet you in a relationship the way you want to be met. Okay? But you've got to find your worth and your value, and you cannot do that through someone else. They can't tell you anything. And I'll tell you the thing about validation, seeking validation from someone else. You're not going to believe it. They can tell you how amazing you are over and over and over. And it's going to feel good for a second or two. And shortly after, you start to wonder, why are they being so nice to me? Why are they saying this? Are they hiding something from me? Are they cheating on me? What is the manipulation here? So it doesn't matter how much a person tries to validate you. They're not going to get anywhere. You have to be able to say, when someone comes up to you and say, you're such an amazing person, you smile and you think, yeah, I already know that. So it's not necessary. Your emotions are not going to be going up and down based on if they can validate you or not. So to answer this question, the shortest possible form I could, how do you bring back an ex when they don't want to come back into the relationship with you? You don't. You get about your life and you let them be, because they just choose not to have a relationship with you. Don't beg. Have some self-respect. It's confusing on what to do when someone comes back after 1 or 2 weeks. How do I respond? You respond from a place of boundary and empathy. I rally for both empathy and boundary. Empathy is you did what you did for your preservation, your survival, your reasons, whatever was going on in your mind, in your body, whatever struggles you were going through. I don't need to understand it, but I suspect that's what was going on because I don't have a clear explanation. That's the closure I'm going to give myself. So I'm going to empathize with you. You've got your struggles. You chose to shut down, to leave, whatever you did for a week or two. But now that you're coming back, even though I can empathize, I can have boundaries. Boundary is sort of empathy that you have for yourself. It comes from the empathy you have for yourself. The boundary is, a lot of us misinterpret boundary. We think it's speaking. We think it's telling this person, don't do this, I don't like it. If you do it again, that's really a threat. If you don't do this, I'm going to do that. That's an ultimatum. That's not a boundary. A boundary is, someone does something and you say, this thing was done, I don't like how it feels. And truthfully, I mean, I know I'm saying this to you. I'm suspecting that you're new on the journey or you've been struggling. Let me first tell you how I deal with a boundary. I look at how people are, what they do, what they say. And I don't say anything to them. I don't need to tell them this hurts my feelings. I can show them that I'm not okay with this. And how do I do that? I excuse myself. If it's a table setting and people are, let's say, for example, being vulgar in their conversations, I don't have to say, hey, I'm uncomfortable with this. This is not okay. You're being disrespectful. I don't have to say any of that, because the truth is they may not be disrespectful to people who are like-minded. But if this thing is affecting me, I'm going to say, hey, do you mind excusing me for a bit? And I step away. I give myself some time, figure out, okay, conversation's probably going to end in about 15 minutes, and then I come back. Now, if they ask, hey, why were you gone for so long? I don't have to lie. I could say, I was a little uncomfortable with the conversation. Done. Not what you did, not what the other person should have done. Now, in a relationship, you might ask, how do I do that in a relationship? My partner doesn't call me, and I need to set a boundary. How do I do that? Okay, you don't call them. You wait them out. You get about your life. You don't always have to be the one reaching out. When we reach out constantly, we are saying, I'm scared of losing you, and I'm also going to tolerate whatever you send my way whenever you choose to send it my way. So what you want to do, look at your energy. I don't talk enough about energy here, but energy is a big part of my relationship, how I balance my energy. Right now, I'm in a masculine energy because I have a goal, I have a decision to make, I've got questions here that I need to answer. So the masculine energy is more goal-oriented. It makes decisions. It's the do. It's the action. The feminine energy receives, right? This has nothing to do with male or female. We all have masculine and feminine energy. So my masculine energy shows up in the workplace. My feminine energy is with everyone else. It's even... it's with my children, it's in my relationship, it's with my friends. It's more of a feminine energy where you're relaxed and you're grateful and you're accepting things, you're comfortable accepting things. One of the issues with avoidant and anxious attached people is they don't know how to accept things. So how do you deal with it when this person returns? Is you set a boundary with yourself. The feminine energy does not chase. Right, the feminine energy receives. So that means the person comes back. This person is from a female, and the energy thing is such a heavy topic. Let's talk about the female and the feminine energy, just for a bit. The female energy gets diminished when a female. I'm not talking pronouns here. It's too much for this conversation. When there's a girl in the home and she had to take on the masculine role. When there was a girl in the home and maybe her father did not take on the masculine role and she learned how to take care of herself. Now, that person can grow up to be either an anxious attached or an avoidant attached. Both of them learn to be givers and people pleasers, and they don't know how to set boundaries. They give and give and give until they build up resentment. You want to be able to balance those energies. Learn to receive. The anxious attached, just like the avoidant attached, they don't know how to receive. The avoidant attached does not know how to receive love, to receive help, to receive care. The anxious attached is so busy pursuing, so busy taking care of, that they also feel uncomfortable when they have to step back and receive. I know, I've been there. You always want to jump in and help. You always want to jump in and care. So in a case when someone leaves and they come back, receive. Meaning, it doesn't mean that you have to give them a chance. It means listen to what they have to say, and then you decide, does this work for me or not? The feminine energy decides on, how does this feel for me? Am I comfortable? Am I happy in this? Am I at peace at this? Forget the happiness. Am I at peace with this? And from that place, the person makes a decision. I've been asked about how to set boundaries. There's a very, very easy way to know how you should know if you should set a boundary. It's a difficult task. The easy way of knowing if a boundary needs to be set is how you feel. Imagine a video game and you're in it, and in order for you to stay safe every time you're about to do something or get involved in something that's uncomfortable, painful, hurtful, there's a wall that comes up. Now, in real life out here, every time you're about to do something or say something, you're going to feel uncomfortable. That is the wall in the video game that just shoots up. Now, what that means is, don't continue going forward. Pull back. The wall says, don't go any further. Now, what we do is we ignore that feeling and we still go ahead. And then in hindsight, we say, oh, I knew I shouldn't have done that. How do you do that? You learn to pause. It is okay to say to someone, I need some time to think about this. I need some time to get back to you. I need some time to process this before I respond. And you have to learn how to say no. No, I'm not okay with this. A partner repeatedly changes their mind on going out with you. Stop making plans with them. You set the boundary with yourself. This does not feel right. How do I set a boundary? Well, I'm not going to allow myself to be in this position again. If you keep canceling on me, I'm not making plans with you. And the next time we make plans, let's say we're making plans to go to dinner, call me when you get there, because I don't trust it's going to happen. If I don't hear from you 3 hours before, I'm probably going to make plans. Okay, set the boundary with yourself. What are you going to accept and what you won't? You are the only one who knows about this relationship. And if it's confusing for you, yeah, it's natural to be confused about, it's normal for you to be confused about something like this because it doesn't work for you. There is how you know this is a boundary that needs to be set. Now, what will you do about it? The other thing about when a partner comes back, you have to learn how to slowly let them earn your trust. It's not, it's not, people will say, oh, well, we got back together and things went right back as it were. Well, if it went exactly the way it was before, then guess what? It's going to end the same way. The same pattern will repeat itself. And we don't want that. If you're going to have a relationship, if you've met someone and you're with them, every time something disrupts the relationship, you should be starting a whole new relationship. And what I mean by that is who you were before this disruption should not be the same person you are in the new relationship with the very person. You have to change, and this person's also got to do some changing. I had a question here, and I think it was a follow-up to what I just said. So how do you handle, before I get to that, how do you handle a long-distance relationship with an avoidant attached person? When we start thinking that a long-distance relationship is going to work, the ones that did not start in close proximity where the other person had to leave, the moment you start to get attracted to somebody who is not within your reach, that there is a clear signal that you are not open to having a relationship because you've already started to self-sabotage. You've already started to put things in place that's going to make it really, really difficult to hold this relationship together. So one, the anxious attached is going to start a relationship with someone who is far away. Why?
Well, if you're really far away, it's now much harder for me to prove that I'm always going to be there for you. It's so much harder for me to prove that I'm the perfect partner, and now I'm going to wait for you to jump on a white horse and come in and save the day. I'm going to constantly need you to validate me and this relationship. I need you to call me all the time to let me know that you're still thinking about me. I need you to keep proving to me that you're not out there seeing somebody else. So I've already made it an impossible case. For the avoidant attached person, when you get into a relationship with someone who's not in close proximity, what you're already saying to yourself is, oh, I've got all the space. I don't need to be emotionally available. You see, we want to think that as an anxious attached person, we're emotionally available. You're not emotionally available if you're walking into a relationship knowing that it's not going to be an easy one. You're setting yourself up for failure. And then when it happens, you're like, yeah, I know. No one ever chooses me. They can't because they're so far away. They're busy with other stuff. They can't. Right? So we've got to watch how we self-sabotage. And we do it to ourselves all the time. And don't beat up on yourself. A lot of this is very unconscious. You just have to start becoming slowly aware. What's your mind? What is it saying? It's saying, oh, they're out there. I haven't heard from them in 2 hours. They must be seeing someone else. Talk yourself down. Let yourself know that, no, this is not the script. You're not a child anymore with your parent going out and the fear of them not coming home. You're a grown up. You're different now. You're valuable to people. People love you. People appreciate you. You have to see it first before anybody else could see it. Oh, here's another one. Ma'am, he confused me. He is not telling me what's going on in his mind. I don't know. And he's also not sharing what I should do. Okay, just give me a few seconds. All right. Asking someone to tell you what's in their mind is kind of like needing to see their diary. And if they don't tell us, we get upset. We get upset they're not giving us their diary to read. And he's not telling you what you need to do. He does not get to tell you what to do. You are in control. Based on his actions, you know what's happening in his mind. You have a fairly good idea. An avoidant attached person who is interested in having a relationship with you will communicate. They may not come and communicate about the relationship, but they will check up on you. They'll say, hey, how's it going? They'll call you, have a completely different conversation, but that's their way of saying, let's move on. Now, those who are not reaching out, not responding, maybe they do want to have a relationship, but in that moment, they don't want to communicate. That is their choice. You now get to decide, does this work for me? Do I want to spend the rest of my life with someone who does not say, hey, I need some time to decompress? There are many, many avoidant attached people who are capable and who do communicate their need for some space. Are they capable of giving lengthy sentences and paragraphs to articulate exactly what their needs are? Not necessarily so. There are many people who are unable to do that. But, you know, they do hint how they feel. If they're in a relationship with you and things aren't going so great, they're going to reach out with a, hi, thinking about you. I hope you're okay. Did you see the news today? Little things like that. If they're not doing that at all, step back, give it a few days. Give it a few days for them to process and come around. And if they don't, if it's a week or 2 weeks, what you should consider is that this person does not have the capacity to meet you where you want to be met, to have some sort of a healthy relationship, at least for the rest of your life. And why I say some sort of a healthy relationship is because if it's a dynamic of an anxious attached and an avoidant attached, that's already not a healthy relationship. We have to meet the person where they are mentally, emotionally wired. We don't pick up a vase and it's cracked and it's broken and it's sealed up and we expect it to be able to carry all the weight that a proper well-made vase would be able to carry. Does that make sense? You can't see something for what it is and then expect it to act a different way. The last post that I did, a part of it, one of the things that the girl was saying to her friend is, you're dating avoidant attached people and then expect them not to act as avoidant attached. Or you're dating anxious attached people and you're expecting them not to act anxiously attached. You want to be able to say it sooner. Now, I know the avoidant attached will say it sooner, but they still take a much longer time to leave, which confuses the anxious attached. Make the decision for yourself. What are you looking at? The reality, not what it used to be or what it could be. What are you looking at right now? And can I handle this for the rest of my life? You don't need someone to tell you if you should stay in a relationship and work harder or if you should change something about yourself. These are decisions you get to make by yourself. One of the most liberating things I've realized one day I was just walking on the street and I suddenly realized, wait a second, I am not attached to anyone else. I'm on this planet, a beautiful planet, wonderful people. I'm not attached to anyone else. I get to choose if I cross the street, if I drink a cup of coffee, where I drink that cup of coffee. It was the most liberating feeling. I get to make the decisions that's best for me. And, consider other people, but you're not attached to anyone. No one gets to tell you how you should feel and how you shouldn't. You get to choose. You get to choose. And I know I'm going to keep saying this over and over and over, because I know when you're so locked into this anxious attachment cage, you can't see out of it. When I was in my 20s, early 30s, I didn't know this. I didn't know that, wait a second, I could choose, I could decide. I'm not okay with somebody treating me this way. I could walk away. I'm fine. I couldn't look back. I could not look back into the past and say, wait a second, I've been in other relationships. People do want to be with me. Why would I hold on to this person who treats me terribly? Why am I doing that? I couldn't even think that way because my focus was constantly on how to make this other person appreciate me and like me and show up for me. All of that changes when you stand still and ask yourself, wait, what do I want? What would make me happy? And can this person really give it to me? And yes, it's going to be painful to walk away. But you have to think of it this way. You either stay in the pain and accept it, or you decide, all right, I'm going to walk away and it's going to hurt a little bit, but I'll be okay. It is going to hurt either way. But it's either it hurts you for the rest of your life, or it hurts you for a short period of time, and then you get on with your life. All right, back to the other questions that you sent in. He says that he doesn't know if he can live without me, but says he's unable to connect. What should I do? Anyone who is dependent on another human being that much needs some time to heal. That is not, I'm going to use the word burden here. That is not a burden that you want to take on. You do not want to be someone's life support. Someone who says, I can't live without you, can be a controlling person, because it can also translate to, I don't want you going out with your friends because I'm not going to be comfortable on my own. I don't want you going out to work because I'm not happy knowing that other people have access to you. It can be a controlling, jealous, possessive person. Anyone who says, I cannot live without another human being, is a person who needs to learn to live alone before they can get into a relationship. Or if they're in a relationship, learn to enjoy your own company. You don't have to be attached physically, emotionally, or energetically to your partner all the time to feel safe and whole. Yes, as human beings, we are wired for connection. We should not be wired for attachment. We don't have to be attached. Our spiritual sides, and we all have this, we all have that tingly thing that tells us it's right, or this feels really good, we're on the right path. That's what I call the spiritual side. That part of us does not need to be attached to any person or anything. Okay? Connection, yes. Attachment, no. We don't need attachments. My fiance dumped me 8 weeks before marriage. He says we're not compatible. What should I do? I am so sorry. I'm going to change the tune for this particular one. Being in a relationship with an avoidant attached is a really, really tricky thing. The thing is, they want connection. We're talking about a fearful avoidant in this particular case. They want connection, but they're really, really scared of losing their independence. Now, a marriage is a massive commitment. It's a huge commitment. You're sharing space with someone every day, and you're committing to that for the rest of your life. Avoidant attached people, when they get married, it's very difficult for them to get out of a marriage because that commitment means a lot. These are people who are goal-oriented and they stay committed to their goals. So for them to actually walk out on a marriage or a relationship, it's not always easy. A marriage especially, and a marriage with kids, much harder. So to commit to something like this, there's so many things an avoidant attached person will take into consideration. Giving up their space, also depending on what the relationship was like before the marriage. Was it the kind of relationship where this person did not feel like they had the space to do things independently? And I'm not saying go out and cheat. I'm saying just go out with their friends, go to a concert by themselves, go have dinner by themselves without their partner feeling left behind or threatened or insecure. If the relationship was like that and then they get into a marriage or they're going into a marriage, they start to think that, oh, this is only going to get worse. So they start to back off. They start to say things like, I don't see this going anywhere. I'm not in love with you. But also where they say we're not compatible, that can be a possible truth. I want to be as gentle and cushion this as much as I could because I know this is painful. I don't know. I can appreciate that this must be a really, really painful time, and it's not to put blame on anyone. It is really just to bring about an awareness. I've heard many cases where an avoidant attached person walked away just before they got married. The thing about the compatibility is we don't know if they've said this before or if they thought this way before. See, a lot of times, a lot of people get together and it's really trauma, their past trauma that holds them together, or the commonality of trauma between the two that keeps them together, keeps them fighting for this. But when you pull yourself back, you've got to ask yourself, do I really like this person? Yes, I may love the person, but do I really like this person? What is it I like about them? What is it that I have in common with them? Or what is it I'm learning from them? What is it they're learning from me? What are the few things that we enjoy doing together? And what are the things that we explore and learn about together? If it's just a relationship of hanging out and having similar friends and knowing each other's families and stuff like that, it's not enough to hold a relationship. I mean, think about it. You're close friends, right? The friendship, you may have specific things that you like about a friend, but that's the thing that you go to that friend for. When you're signing up for a lifetime partner, you want to have more than just one thing in common. You want to have a few things that you've either come together and like, you both have that in common before you met each other, and then as you grow into the relationship, you're picking up other things that you're finding enjoyable, because this is the person that you're going to be waking up with and going to bed with every day, and hopefully it is for the rest of your life. Okay. How do you respond to this? Oh, what should you do? Sorry. I would say give this some time. Give this some time. An avoidant attached person, I know you didn't say if he's avoidant attached, but they're the only ones who would leave just before a marriage. I would suggest giving this some time, allow the person to really process and think about their actions, and let them come back in their time and give an explanation if that's what they choose. Don't give them too much time, meaning don't sit around and wait for them forever, right? I would say try as hard as you can to get about your life, meet with your friends, do things that bring you joy, heal from this. The reason I'm saying heal from this is, even if they do come back saying that they want to continue a relationship with you, you're going to have a hard time trusting them. So you want to start working through feelings of betrayal, disappointment, self-guilt, perhaps. I'm sure you've got a host of feelings, but start working on yourself and trust that this will play out as it should. I'm a big believer in everything happening for a reason, for your betterment. I know it's not always the most comforting thing to hear, but get on with your healing, allow them to process and come back to you with an explanation. And as life happens, as time moves, just give yourself permission to act accordingly, meaning you don't have to set yourself a timetable on how long you're going to give them, when you're going to text them, what you're going to say, what you're going to return. Go with your feelings. This is a good time to set boundaries based on how you feel. If you feel like the stuff that you have of theirs in your space is affecting your emotional health and your healing, feel free to return it. If you feel like you don't want to keep looking at their stories to see what they're saying and that's hurting you, pause them, block them, mute them. This is time for you. And what happens in the future, you'll make a decision then. But you won't be able to make a sound decision until you focus on yourself and you work on your healing. Think about what needs to be changed within you, not the relationship, within you. When you change what's within you, the relationship will adapt to it. How can you tell why an avoidant attached will reach out after months of no contact? How can you tell why? Well, the only way you could tell why is if they tell you honestly. There are a few reasons they may reach out. They miss you. They have some regrets. They need an ego boost to know that you're still there. Focus less on why they're doing it and more on what you need to do for you and your peace of mind. If they've left you and they stayed in no contact for months, is this the kind of person you want in your life? Whether it's a romantic partner or a friend, is this someone that you can trust enough to have in your life? So focus less on what they're doing and what they're thinking. Focus more on what works for you. Why does avoidant discard in friendships hurt as much as romantic relationships? We love people differently. We love our friends differently. We love a romantic partner differently. but we love them nonetheless. And when they leave, we will miss them. And of course it's going to hurt. We share so much with this human being. What you want to know is that friendships will end. I don't know. I mean, there hardly anyone who you find would have friendships that's lasted all of their lives. There are people, but you hardly find that. And I will tell you, if those two people step back and ask, why are we really friends? Most cases, it's just because we're familiar with each other, right? So friendships end. People change, evolve, grow into different people, pretty much evolve. And they choose to move on. Other things might be happening in their lives. Don't see it as a discard. See it as this person's chosen a different path and I wish them well. And it's time for me to either continue on my path or choose another path too. It doesn't mean that your paths won't cross again, that you won't be civil and kind to each other, but you may not necessarily have the same kind of friendship as you've always had with that person. That's happened a lot. And as you go through your healing journey and you start to look at the people around you, you start to make decisions then. It's not just going about life I'm not going to even try that. Going through life willy-nilly, right? You are going to make clear choices on who stays in your life and who needs to kind of take a back seat. It's not that you don't care about them. It's not that you don't love them. But when you have healed your attachment style enough, you have a clearer vision for what you want your life to look like in the future, who you want to be in the future. And when you want that, you start to look at the other people and you start to ask which energy is giving and which one's taking, which one's adding value and what's taking out of my life. You know, that there are relationships in my life. I'll share my priority with you. In my life, my priority is I'm number one. Second on that list is my work, this, my purpose on earth, this. And the third, my children, my partner. Below that, my sister, really close friends of mine. Everyone else below that. Now, whatever energy is coming from the bottom, I need to make sure it's not affecting the other energies that's coming closer and closer to my purpose and then to me. Because anything that disrupts, let's say my kids, they have a friend who disrupts their life. I've got to be careful of that energy. I've got to talk to my kids and say, hey, you guys got to be careful with this energy, because that energy is coming to my kids, which is coming straight up to me. It's going straight to me, to my work. Actually, yeah. So you've got to be careful of the energies that's coming into your life. And as you evolve, your friends will fall away. The discard or the breakup with friendships, and I don't like to call them breakups, I like to just call them we're moving in different directions. It's not necessarily a breakup. We're just moving in different directions right now. It is going to hurt because the dynamic you've had with the person, the relationship you've had with that person, it's no longer the same, and you grieve what you've had going in a different direction. You're no longer able to call each other and talk and chit chat and share all your stuff with them, and you're going to feel all of those emotions: sadness, anger, disappointment at times. You're going to feel the host of emotions that you would feel going through a breakup with a romantic partner. This here tells that you're more of a secure attached style person if you balance the relationships so well that they hurt equally. So it can also indicate an insecure attachment style if you latch on to people so tightly that it's hard for you to let go. So you've got to decide, which one are you at? Are you able to say this person's on their own path and it's got nothing to do with me? Or are they choosing to leave me, which puts you more in an insecure attachment? I'll try to take one more. Let me try to take one of yours here. Someone says, I love your content, Annalisa. It helped me so much. Thank you. You're too kind. And I'm really happy I get to do this. Wish I saw this last year. A lot of us will find information when we're ready for it. It's always out there. It is always out there, but it finds us when we're ready for it. All right, here's a question. I allowed someone, a woman, to come in and out way too many times. Unfortunately, I did have the negative feeling when she would disappear, but I allowed it to continue. See, that's the self-guilt I'm talking about, and it's not necessary. You want to be gentle with yourself when you're on this healing journey. You want to say, you know what? I know that if I knew any better, this was not going to happen. But now that I do, what will I do in the next relationship? And what you have to do is monitor yourself all the time. If you go out on a date, first of all, careful with the labels. Don't call it a date. Just say, I'm going to have coffee with another human being. I'm going to connect with another human being and see how this goes. And then when you get back, you ask, how do I feel about this? Oh my gosh, this person's amazing. I've never met someone like this person ever. Slow down. That there is your attachment style, highly activated. You've seen something on an unconscious level. If you meet them and you're like, oh, you know, it's a nice person. I think I could hang out with them again. It would be nice to get to know them. Then you're more even keel here. This is where you want to be at. But if it's that excitement, oh, this person's amazing. I've never met someone like this, so much different than everybody else. I could see myself spending the rest of my life with them. That is an anxious attachment. Slow down. And it's highly activated. And what will happen there is you'll see the red flag and you start to make excuses. You start to empathize way more than you set any boundary. And that is the problem with the attachment styles. Too much empathy. Too much guilt. Guilt for the avoidant attached. Empathy for the anxious attached. I'm feeling guilty that I told them I wanted to see them and now I'm pulling away, so I have to show up, but later on I'm just going to run because this was not what I wanted in the first place. That's the avoidant attached. The anxious attached is, oh, but everybody struggles and this is just one mistake. I should give them another chance. And then you do that once, you do it twice, and next thing you know, you're doing it for 2 and 3 and 4 years. Do I give sessions? Yes, I do. You could DM me on that. How do you know the difference between if it's the end or if it's a pullback? A self-aware, avoidant attached person will reach out within 2 days. They want to be in a relationship, at least 2 days. They may go an entire day, night without reaching out. The next day they'll reach out for sure. Some part of that day might be way in the evening, but they will. If it's 3 days or more, and there isn't anything like super overwhelming happening in their lives, like death of a loved one, job stress, that sort of thing, and there was a fight in the relationship, chances are they're waiting for you to reach out. Don't do that. Have your self-respect, right? Don't do that. Or they're trying to pull back and hoping that you would take the hint. I would say take the hint that this person is not capable of showing up for you the way you want. Not something's wrong with you. It's that they're not capable of sitting and having a conversation if they're choosing to leave the relationship. And that is not on you. Not everything is on the anxious or the avoidant attached. There's certain things we want to heal, and there's certain things that we have to accept that the other person needs to do some healing work. He broke up with me after a vacation, telling me he cares about me, but he doesn't love me anymore because he can't make me happy, and I should look for another man, whoa, that can show me love and care. I got that one. Isn't this cute? My partner sketched it. He does these doodles, And I gave him this cup for his birthday, and I also have the tattoo, but I wanted him to sketch me this particular, let's see, there. And that's it's a letter in another language. It's an S. Cute, right? Oh, and butterfly. I love butterflies. Yeah. All right. I like this question because I get this a lot from clients or people who sign up for consultations. He broke up with me after a vacation, telling me he cares about me, but he doesn't love me anymore because he can't make me happy, and I should look for another man that can show me love and care. Now, this sounds like this person is upset. This happens, you're probably not going to like this. This happens when we are complaining, or they're hearing us complain. Oh, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. Why didn't you do it this way instead? And they feel constantly judged. And then they snap and say, you know what? I can't be with you. I definitely can make you happy. Why don't you go with somebody who could actually do it? That kind of tone. That's how that comes over. It's when the person feels criticized, and they feel like no matter what they do, we're not going to be happy. And so they recognize that, all right, this person, they have needs that I can't meet. So it's best if they go find somebody else who can do that. And you know what? If someone came to me and they were, if my partner was to come to me and constantly complain, or if he, every now and again, he's like, oh, I asked you to do this, you're not doing it. I can't believe you didn't do it this way, or I can't believe you did. I would say, well, if you're not happy with me, why are you here? Go find somebody else who would make you happy, right? So we have to look at our actions, the whole context of things, right? Our actions and how it provokes. I'm not saying you deliberately provoked. How does it provoke a response? How does the other person feel? Empathy is being able to put yourself in that person's shoes, not to think like you do in that person's skin, to try to think the way they do in their skin. If I'm constantly criticized, think about it, write it down on a piece of paper, all the things that you were not happy about on the vacation, right? It was supposed to be a nice, light, fun vacation. What did you feel did not go right for you? And you spoke up about it. And all right, if you heard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negatives, don't look at what was said. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negatives in a space of 4-day vacation. How would you feel? How would you feel? I asked someone this question recently, an anxious attached client of mine. How would you feel if your partner came to you and said, I really think you should work on yourself. You're really needy and clingy and you act so desperate. It's so cringe. How would that make you feel? Not nice, not good. It is not going to make you feel good. But yet we go to them, we're like, gosh, you're so cold and heartless. Are they supposed to feel good about it? Right? All right. I know I said I was going to take one more question 2 questions ago. It's months after our breakup. She flirts with me, but when I say we must go out, she has excuses. Yeah, don't ever tell another human being that they must do something. That's one thing. And if she's got excuses, maybe she's just enjoying the flirting, but does not want to commit to a full-blown relationship. That's something that you have to consider. Is this something that you want to live with? Or do you need to move on? Some people like to know that they can get the attention from you and there's that excitement, but they don't want to get into a full-blown committed relationship. You get to decide on how you're going to move forward. Remember, this is going to be on the podcast. The podcast is Decoding Attachment Style, and this is going to be up on Friday. Right now, there is a podcast on how to deal with ghosting that's up. That's the recent post. There's one important thing that I want to share with you. Ryan Hawley, who's a relationship coach, many of you know who he is. He and I had a discussion on narcissism and attachment styles, and how they can be confused and what it is you need to look for. Ryan shared, his experiences with narcissism, avoidant attachment style. He shares his expertise there. It was quite an interesting discussion. So head over to my YouTube channel. The full video is right up there. Until next Wednesday.